Hey guys, Lex here, back for some more of the Great Ace Attorney. Last time, we started a trial, and I had a really bad start. I think I'm almost at 2 game overs right now on the very first question. So yeah, hopefully we do better this time. Let's continue the trial. What? Your argument fails to hold water. On 2 counts. 2? Firstly, before and after experiment, the witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of the staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Trepper had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages.
Objection!
But I've ever explained why he wouldn't have needed it to. The nonsense with the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed in the tower, one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? I have here a contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Francis? The contract in which Mr. Trevor entered with the victim, Mr. Asman. It reads, Mr. Trevor is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. 30%? Certainly favorable contractual conditions. But there was only one important provision built onto the clause. What provision? Mr. Tripper may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. In other words, if either us were to die, the contract would become null and void. You see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Trevor having done as you suggest is nil. It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide off the mark. Lord Francis, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. Trevor's contract has been entered into the court record. It's true. Trevor had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower. He couldn't have done it, and in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There's one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. Huh? There were 2 birdcages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. Huh? So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruto. I have no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too. Well, it would seem the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It is impossible that I am the culprit.
Objection!
At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only 1 birdcage. Yet now, we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Driver. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved.
Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, my lord. Mr. Dripper had an accomplice.
Objection!
An accomplice now. Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake, the prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander.
Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
What do I do here? At the moment, this is little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Trevor had an accomplice or if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Mr. Trevor have an accomplice or not? I'm gonna back down. Let's face it, I have no idea who his accomplice might actually have been. Which isn't the strongest position to be in, is it, Miss Ryunosuke?
Mr. Naruto, think of the sword at your side. Karma is crying out.
Sorry?
Crying out for you to show the strength of your conviction now as a lawyer.
Yeah, you're right. The sword is that I inherited, which embodies the will of my best friend. It's my own accomplice.
I'm not sure that's quite the right word, but that's the spirit, certainly.
Fence is ready to name Trevor's accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But the inconsistency itself is a clue.
Counsel,
My lord?
you have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name.
Is it the victim?
So your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Trevor's accomplice?
Oh. Okay. I kind of want to say he's an accomplice. I got 1 point, right?
Take that!
Someone intimately related to the crime, my lord, and someone you would know.
Thank you.
Oh shit.
Truly, you wouldn't say you don't know, would you?
Oh man.
Surely you slipped up putting the wrong person in here. There's no other explanation.
Yeah, definitely.
No slip-ups this time, counsel. The eclipse have been Mr. Tripper's accomplice.
I almost pressed this on accident. Wait a minute. How do I get to the evidence? Someone named Courtney something was... No, that was during the autopsy, I think. Let's try... let's try her.
Take that!
The name of the person in question is...
What's wrong, my Japanese friend?
Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now.
It's a little late for that.
Oh. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. Wait, so that was right? I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me.
Sure, it'll be alright, Mr. Naruto.
Thank you, Mrs. Sato.
The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy.
Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Counsel, now. The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe. What in the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe? The head of the forensic investigation team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim? You know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident had happened in front of the huge crowd of spectators and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could have the switch occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. And he looks so mad. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. Oh, wow. Man, he's so cool. Got the nerve, lad. Standing up there dragging the yard's name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than an East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. What in which the prosecution demands you address at once. Grave problem?
Oh my word.
Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What? Certainly, the bird cage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another. The cage must also have contained the body. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim has been reported. It was the dummy, which means there was no one dead or alive who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. Yeah, that's true. My argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must also have been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Do I need to name someone? Wait. Either I present 2 spells... Oh wait, I have the head. Okay, let's do evidence. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concern by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, Counsel. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. Body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Ha! The body double inside the second birdcage was... the body, the dummy, the wax guy. We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. Therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower. Okay. Yeah, because it was the wax body in the balloon, because it would have killed someone. Yes, Counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events. That body double inside the second birdcage was in fact...
It's alright, Mr. Naruto. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself. Come out with it.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. Did we bring it with us?
Objection!
Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. No. Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. Model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicating the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. Now you've moved on to indicting waxworks. Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? Looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Hairbrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Two Spells. Did you say abducted? 2 days after the incident, the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then, the timing. Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Asman.
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricating this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. But he did so in collusion with this country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Wait. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord, I need to speak if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Oh, cool. Not guilty?
Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty!
What?
Guilty!
No.
Guilty! Guilty!
Guilty!
Kill me!
Oh man.
So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was going to happen.
We shall get through this, Mr. Naruto, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure.
Yes, I agree. Going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual, and see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on the summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman?
Here we are, my lord.
Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime which he is charged.
Yay. Judicial findings. Jurors' contentions.
I've known that woman for years. She'd never been an accomplice to anything. It's utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another.
Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork of the man that stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
Accusing someone without right evidences. He's not a proper job, is he? Won't have it.
Somewhat unsurprisingly, seems that the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceeding has polarized opinion. Given that the face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting this Mr. Esmond's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening, and yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruto?
I can't explain why at the moment. I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model.
Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean?
Yes, and I'm convinced something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim.
Well, if that's the case, must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs.
Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this. If you are ready, counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Jury examinations. Defense's rebuttal. The order of things seem to have changed around here for some reason. I'm a copper, lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must. What's wrong with that? Where do I start? I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years. That's even more than I thought. We've only had a metropolitan police service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. If we had to fight crime, and we had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And when we did, forensic science was in its infancy too, even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution. Dr. Scythe, you mean? That's right, about 10 years ago now it was, when I was still a youngish hobby on the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. Now look at her, head of the forensic investigation team, and a woman no less. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dreamt of back then, I'll tell you. Could you tell me without holding the gun in the air? We were all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim, we were full of vim. That's coming across loud and clear.
Hold it!
We've only just started to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir? The man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you. That's really not relevant to this case, is it? You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the bodies. There was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible. Oh. That's right, oh. That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of tosh. That was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around.
Hold it!
Why would you assume that?
Well, quite simply, because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does she?
True, as it stands, we don't know any connection.
Gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have a mutual interest in the waxwork.
Romantic?
A woman of society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know.
Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to.
One might wonder about the possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there.
What? Woman may be more astute than I've been giving her credit for.
It's true that the woman's stance, and perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe would be enough.
Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know. I have had my own problems.
Hold it!
What sort of problems? Let's just say we run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole?
Who you call a mass murderer?
Sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him.
I don't look anything like that man. You wanna be locked up, sonny?
Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what the juror number 3 just said. Clearly you do.
Back in my day, back in the good old days, wasn't like this.
What was it like, sir?
We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public trust we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then.
Respected you.
No one would have called a coroner into question in the days. Coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name on it. She was the best of the best, and Apple.
Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens?
Sorry. Got a bit carried away there.
Stevens is Dr. Scythe's maiden name. Her maiden name, so that was before she was married.
Of course, yes, silly me. Scythe now, is it?
Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name?
Well, yes, I don't see why not.
Was Courtney Stevens back when I knew of her? Court record.
Hold it!
She was legendary, was she?
What do you say?
Uh,
That woman, still the best coroner in the land. Head of the forensic investigation team.
Legendary was your description, sir, not mine.
Rubbish. That word never passed my lips. I never described anybody that way ever. Not if they were still in the game.
Huh. I think the point you're trying to make is that Dr. Scythe is an extremely talented coroner. Would that be fair?
What? You aren't for the fact that you're trying to drag that legendary woman's reputation through the mud.
Going to pretend I didn't hear that legendary. Waxwork man stole has nothing to do with the coroner.
Hold it!
Oh no, that's not what I meant to press.
Ah! Did it again!
Okay. Jurors. I'm gonna get a game over.
Objection!
Okay, I'm not. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
So, juror number 2.
Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you?
I presume that you've heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before.
Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean.
Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens. And through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it.
My goodness, evidence you say? How utterly enthralling.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is some sincere claim.
Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the masked murderer known as the Professor.
Take that!
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago.
A 10-year-old autopsy report. What relevance does that have?
It is of course from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor.
The professors? But the man was a capital offender, so...
That's right, this is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives a few details. What's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens.
Oh my, Courtney Stevens.
Strike a light.
It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Two Spells. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Asman, at all.
And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events?
Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor's case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is all most extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further.
Yeah, easy.
Quite right. We can't let this trial continue to end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the art's best coroner. Wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in hand.
Oh, what a good guy. Wait, what does he say? Wait, I'll go back. We're not done here yet. Okay. I had my own problems with the police. I do not trust them much. I'll do that later. If I...
Hold it!
But you claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick.
That I did. That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry?
I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there'd have been no need for you to use a real person. What if a waxwork had been used? The culprit could at least have the decency to make it look like a victim.
Not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency.
The point is, if you're going to make a claim about the waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science.
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps means his mind could have changed if we managed to present suitable evidence.
Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I prove that or not? Okay. Oh, I never read this. In terms of investment, the investor, Mr. Odiasman, hereby enters into contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. Mr. Trevor may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. O. Asmund, E. Trevor. I forgot what I was looking for. What was I looking for? The evidence to... Oh, it's inside the birdcage. Let's check the birdcage. No, we don't have evidence. I have nothing. Well, I could state quite categorically, sir, that we have no such evidence at this present time.
Air Marshal was abundantly clear before that brassy proclamation, I assure you. Why can you, and why you can count on the fact that I shan't be changing my lady.
Oh dear, the proclamation was even brassier than yours, Mr. Naruto.
Only if I had some evidence. Things might be different, though.
Hold it!
I've got to ask, why have you brought that corn into court with you?
Corn a cop? He's been growing back at the farm. Picked him off on me way into town. He's a proper nibbler, he is.
Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe it could wait until after the trial?
Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need colonels at a time like this. Whenever I have something big to decide, the colonels always point me in the right direction, see?
You're talking about your cob of corn?
Nibble nibble guilty, bobble, nibble not guilty out. Nibble nobble guilty, bobble, nibble not guilty out. Nibble nobble guilty, bobble, nibble not guilty out. Nibble nobble guilty, bobble, nibble not guilty out.
Oh my god.
Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals, like people do back home.
So Professor Hairbrain's fate is to be decided by a cob of corn. Could you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding on the defendant's guilt?
Oh, I don't know about that. My tum's awfully full already.
Amazing. You know, it seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in that birdcage. On the other hand, it explains a lot.
There's really a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Asmund's double. Let's do everything we can to make the jurors understand it.
The truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this, but it's the most puzzling part of it too.
In that case, you should see what additional information you're gleaning whilst trying to change the jurors' minds. Read a book whilst eating a rice cracker, Mr. Naruto. I'm sure you could do this.
Right, yes. I can't, though. Let me press him again.
Hold it!
What sort of problems? Let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage, as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult. Sometimes they even cook up a story to extort monies from the poor. Well, that's definitely not right. Yes, and that's why I say that if you trust the police, you will have trouble. But here you are, claiming this waxwork model was stolen to star in an illusionary spectacular. Idea so odd, I think I would take my chances and believe the authorities on this equation. This is how the public at large view Scotland Yard, is it?
Our own police force in Tokyo is not even 20 years old yet, is it? Perhaps we should view what happened here in London as a measure of what may happen at home.
Yes, like a Scotland Yard stick. Wonder how a policeman would feel listening to the way jury speaks about the force. I'm sure he'd have words to say in response. Oh, he already did. How could I tell. Oh, wait, I never looked at this? Oh, there's a key. This lock does look very strong, doesn't it? There's definitely no way you could remove the mask yourself if it was put on you.
A terrible way to treat someone, even a convicted criminal.
I know, it's starting to make me livid, actually.
Sir Naruto, please.
I mean, just think about it. Imagine if you had an itch in your cheek all of a sudden, you'd be utterly helpless.
Well, yes, that's true. But I'm not sure that warrants quite so much anger.
Alright, sorry. Is that it? Guess so. I didn't know that. Oh no. Back. No! Oh, I have to press it. Okay. I was trying to... whatever. I do have evidence. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh. Must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation there.
So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside the birdcage, namely...
Where's the glaze?
Take that!
What's that? A piece of glass? Oh, it's unusually thick for glass.
Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket of the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was deployed for the construction of the Crystal Tower.
Crystal Tower? Holy smoke!
Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass.
From where did a small piece originate? Is that it?
Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you.
Well, as I said, only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. In light of what you show me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please.
Leaves me in little doubt the wax was indeed in the birdcage. Oh no. Let's press. Thank you for reconsidering your position, sir.
The words are misplaced, my boy. My apprehensions is governed by logic and science and nothing else. Yes, science is where you should direct your words of gratitude.
Ah.
There. What's the matter with you? Too good to say some words of thanks to the mother of all convicted subjects.
It was about scientists, honestly. Okay, go back. Wait, who was conniving with the monitor? Let me repress them. Starting to understand what you're saying. Guess I just have to pit these two. Okay.
Objection!
Oh. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer?
You can put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5.
Oh, mean me.
You pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. The accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question, not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated the juror sitting beside you.
Oh, is that right?
Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument?
I don't understand much besides Chronicles, to be honest.
Of course you don't.
If I could interject here.
Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours about the backtrack has been backed up with solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further.
Why did I need to pit them?
I don't know.
Ah, well, me too then.
Okay. Sorry?
This Brady gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See, I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff within their ears.
Hey, we got it. Success! You could call it that.
Thank you, counsel, that will do. The result of a summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors now call guilty against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time. The trial must continue.
We did it.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruto. Another wonderful victory.
Hey. Now what?
The waxwork of this despicable professor, used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation.
It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. I'm convinced there is a special significance to that link.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony.
If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness.
The owner?
Madame Two-Spells. Oh, I really thought that Lord Van Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry.
Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Two-Spells to appear as a witness with immediate effect.
Listen carefully, my wise friend. Oh, yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box.
The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon a new witness and prepare her for taking the stand.
Madame Two-Spells, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. Hey, okay. Guess we'll end it here, and then next time we'll continue with the trial. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.